Hi, I'm Katrina Menne, Sigma Evangelist.
Hi, I'm Donny Alfano, I lead SI Partner Solutions.
Today we're going to be talking about how to build good applications in Sigma. We've seen a lot of folks build things that are small applications, just covering a single input, all the way up to super complex and really iterative and a lot of workflows captured in one application. So today we've got an acronym for you, BUILD, help you keep in mind the best practices for building applications. It's business objective, user path, input modeling, look and feel, and then deployment cycle. So Donny, you want to kick us off with business objective?
Fantastic. Business objective being the starting point, being the North Star, everything we should be aiming at. As we're building out a data application, there's a lot of complexity in what you can be building in your data model, feeding into the data app. There's a lot of complexity into how you are shaping that experience for the end user and how they're going to interact with it. So keeping in mind your personas, how you're building for them, what you want them to achieve with the platform becomes really important. And we recommend with that whiteboarding sessions, ideation sessions, going through, doing the discovery, seeing the art of the possible. And then from there, playing with the tool, seeing what you can create with that, how you can streamline an experience, not using it for creating the end production solution, but just getting familiar with, again, what can be done and what can be shaped for them, and putting all of this into a thoughtful, careful plan that you can document everything that's going to follow with the rest of this build acronym.
Yeah, you definitely want to keep that North Star so you can always refer back to it throughout this whole process to make sure that you're meeting your objective as well as serving the personas that you identified. So after you've done that, the next step is to think about the user path. This covers what the person is actually going to be doing in the application. So this could be something like, how many clicks are they clicking on in order to get to the information they need? We want to make sure that you're balancing the number of clicks with what is actually a good experience and what the application is intended to do. So you don't want to make someone have to click on 10 different things in order to input one piece of information, but there could be something where you do specifically want to go in a specific path or a specific order. That could be something where it's like, hey, we have this really complex process and we need to make sure we're capturing the right pieces pieces in the right order. And a way to do that is to piece out the workflow so that it's something where it's, hey, here's modal 1, here's tab 1, now we're going to navigate to tab 2 or something like that to make sure you are capturing that information. But again, keeping it in a way that makes sense. The way that you think about doing that or what that leads into is going to be the actual actions that you have in Sigma. So this is my little lightning bolt for the actions and the automations that are available. You can really use a lot of different things in Sigma. It could be something, I'm going to click on it and it's going to do one specific thing, or you can layer on actions or use if-else considerations to really empower users to have something that is very easy to use and it just flows really easily. In addition to that, or after you think about actions, there's also going to be, what information or what is the actual layout of the workbook. So again, we talked about making sure that you're not like hiding pieces of information tucked away in hidden tabs or hidden modals, but at the same time, you don't want to just present your users with one big page to rule them all. You want to make sure that is kind of balanced between those two things so that you're not overwhelming, but you are informing your users with the proper information. You can also maximize control elements to make sure that you are really thinking about how to be efficient with the information you're getting from your end user and how they're using it. So this could be something where you've got a table and you want someone to update the status or update information or like make a new comment or something like that. And so you can click on that row and have that populate control elements that then can be written back to your input table. So being thoughtful about, again, how many clicks and what the path is in order for that user. So use those things intelligently to make sure that you're really maximizing the Sigma features. And then again, thinking about the tables and how all of that information is going to be presented at the end. This could be something like a pivot table where you've got your information listed out. It could be a bar chart or line chart or something like that to really help the user go from hey, I've got information and I'm impacting it. I've captured my workflow and now I can see the output of it. And if you are at all unsure of what your user path should be, always go back to your business objective, because this really should be defining what you have here, which is again why it's so important to whiteboard things out so you can visually see what is the user path, what is the information that we need, and what's the order that we need to capture that piece of information.
That measure twice, cut once approach, and really being thoughtful about how it's shaping up on the front end also relates into the back end and what we're creating here. In my analytics career, I spent most of the time in the data analytics engineering, trying to create some form of experience for the end user that they weren't going to directly see, but they were going to feel the impact of. When we're talking apps, what we're talking is having the ability to do that right back via your input table. This is something that you want to enable end users to update via forms, via controls, maybe even direct edit. But you want to do so in a way that is a little bit more secure and ways that you can govern. Common model that we use is then we use a child element to build out a base table. And this base table can contain your common logic. You can use this to create a warehouse view. So I can use this in a data model and create that so that other workbooks could access this. And as well, I can use this to then go to a filter table. But before I do that, I want to add some degree of security so that whoever needs to be accessing this, there is a bit of control in the process. We have row level security, column level security, group level security. We leverage our user attributes as well as upstream semantic modeling. And from there, we can carry this into our filter tables. And this is where we will filter down to the exact content that we want to share. And we will put that, I will say, our presentation table, but this can also be our chart. This can be a pivot table that we treat as both. And so that you are securely sharing exactly what you should be down to the provisioned user. The end user experience is exact how you want to shape this. An example that comes up again and again in my world is delivery tracking. So we have delivery input tables, we have status input tables, comments, everything in between. And we create a path for each one of those. And we do our many-to-one handling, one-to-one handling, and create a whole entire reference architecture before we ever go hands-on keyboard and start building this out. So we know exactly what to expect and what we're building for the end user.
So again, going back to the North Star to understand what objective you're trying to meet and understand what is the path you want them to use. You mentioned a couple options for the way that folks can be putting information into an input table. With Sigma, there's a lot of options, a lot of flexibility, and that's a really awesome thing because you can, build whatever you want to do, but you do want to be thoughtful about how you are building out your inputs because it's going to have a huge impact on the user path, and then also, making sure that you're still meeting your business objectives.
Bob Ross, happy little arrow.
So once you've defined your input model, the next step is to think about the look and feel.
My favorite.
I really enjoy thinking about look and feel. I think it is the fun part for a lot of folks. This is going to be things that are kind of fit and finish. So thinking of a really obvious one or an easy one is going to be color. This is my attempt at a paint palette or a color palette. So making sure that you're aligned with any color palettes that your business has. Also being really thoughtful about what your colors are communicating to your end users. So thinking about, if you've got a dashboard or if you have a workbook or an application with 55 bright colors, like there's so much information, it's really overwhelming. So being thoughtful about those sorts of things. Also, it could be something like text. So thinking about what font you're using. We've seen some workbooks where folks are trying to comply with their the things that they've been given by their art department or something like that. But, it might look really great for text, but not for numbers. And so just being thoughtful and considering what that looks like and different sizes and those sorts of things. I think another thing that fits into this is just having good instructions, making sure that folks understand, what is the user path, what is the inputs that you want them to be able to do. So that I really like to have a big header and then a little bit of a smaller header that's italic and like a smaller font to basically say, hey, here's what you should be doing next. And then again, you can always use those paths and workflows to make sure that people are getting the right information at the right point. Which leads into the next point of navigation. So north, south, east, and west. This is our compass to really help folks understand, if I click on this, what's gonna happen, have those good instructions of, click here to filter or click to filter or those sorts of things. You can also think about making sure that folks are not getting lost in modals or like end up in kind of a dead space or something like that where it doesn't end up leading anywhere. So really simple things could be, make sure you have a clear way for someone to kind of exit out of the loop. But again, as you're calling out for the input modeling, making sure that that's not going to break your input. Hey, you might need that information later, so making sure you've got a good navigation in that sense. Along those lines, there's also designing for mobile. We see a lot of customers who have folks in the field that are trying to use these applications. So making sure that your design is compatible with that, or at least considering that there is a way to really do that in Sigma very easily. So keeping that in mind if it's needed, which again, go back to your North Star if you are unsure about that. And then last, I would say, is accessibility. We always want to make sure that we are able to help anyone with, or help anyone get the information that they need. A really easy tip that I learned early on in my career is if you can't design in black and white, you need to start over. And that goes back to accessibility of, there's a lot of folks that consume information differently. And so we just want to make sure that we're being thoughtful about that. Which, again, if you need any help or need any decisions about what the look and feel should look like, go back to your input model, go back to your user path and your business objectives so that you're understanding how all of these things fit together. I think this is where a lot of people stop. They think that they're done building their application, when in reality, this is just one pit stop. We still have one more letter that we have to cover.
And that would be our development cycle. This is the ongoing, living, breathing part of the app, where not only do you want to be thoughtful on how you're developing, you also want to think about all the following stages that are going to go beyond just that initial development, where you are thinking and building around that initial user path, the inputs that go into that data model, the look and feel, the design that goes with that, how you're enabling good accessibility, which is just at its core good design. But from there, you're going to go into hopefully some degree of testing. We'll do a little microscope for our testing here. We'll see how this goes. We'll take it. And we want to be really thorough because there are a lot of actions, there could be a lot of containers, could be a lot of individual components as part of your data app, to make sure they all work together, to make sure all permutations of users going in, clicking various buttons, adding in different things to random input tables that you may have built in. All of this is locked down in a way that is predictable and understandable. And from there, you are able to go into your actual deployment. We're going to do a plane. Hopefully I can draw these since I spend a lot of time on them. Less of a dolphin this time. And with that, you can create a more unified experience by packaging together the material around the data, or the app itself, by having documentation, by having guides and instructions, ensuring that all users can understand the inputs that they are going to be making to those tables and how that will affect the downstream flow. Packaging all that together is just really good design and development. And from there, obviously these things are living, breathing things. They change over time. So what you're going to want to do is continue to have ongoing maintenance and support over these. As well, we always have exciting new features coming around. So we want our users to be incorporating that into the AI apps as they're building them. And with that, we have our app, it exists, it's being used, but maybe it's no longer needed or something could replace it. We could go through the process of sunsetting it, or we can go all the way back to the beginning over here and think about our business objective and create our next iteration of that and have an ongoing life cycle for this, so that the asset you're creating, you're getting the maximum return on investment from the time that you're spent building it. And as well, meeting end users where they are, having the experience that they want, enabling their day-to-day, creating the workflows that enable the business to be successful. And again, you're getting that return on investment from the time that's spent building.
With that, we hope that you have learned about how to build good applications in Sigma by keeping in mind the business objective, user path, input modeling, look and feel, and having a good development cycle.
Get out there and build now.